Okay, so guys, I'm just going to run through the Haughey years, and that'll bring us up to 1989, which is the final year in the course. So the good time Charlie years. So let's focus first of all on Haughey's first rise to power, and the economic background surrounding that. So we talked a little bit in the Lynch videos about the oil crisis. So we had the Arab-Israeli War, which sparked the first oil crisis, and then the Iranian Revolution, which sparked the second oil crisis. So when there is an oil crisis, it means the price of oil goes up, which has an impact on industry, weakens the economy, increases unemployment, etc., etc. Um, and the second impact, or the second economic impact for Haughey's first rise to power, is the European monetary system. So it linked currencies to other members' currencies, and it broke the link between the sterling and the pund. It was beneficial because, firstly, Britain didn't join the EMS, shocking, and B, the pund, which is old Irish money, before your time. Um, the pund wasn't linked to the British economy, which was suffering high inflation. So that was a really positive element for Haughey. So if we just flick back a little bit to the end of the Lynch era, we talked a little bit about the Pope's visit in the last video. It was one of the last ceremonial occasions that Lynch participated in. Fianna Fáil had lost many political battles during 1979. Lynch resigns. Haughey wins the party vote by 44 votes to 38, despite Colley being Lynch's preferred choice. Lynch resigned thinking that he was going to be handing over the ship to Colley. But Colley's popularity had declined over the years because of his disastrous management of the budget, while Haughey had had an increase in support because he had proven his success as a minister, especially in the Family Planning Act, where real married couples could get a prescription from a doctor for contraception with a good reason. So an Irish solution to an Irish problem. And remember, we talked a little bit about that in class. But there was still resistance to Haughey. There was still an element within Fianna Fáil that was anti-Haughey, so he would have to build on that. So Haughey's first cabinet was 1979 to 1981. He wasn't strong enough within the party to lead without bringing adversaries on board. So he had to bring Colley on board. He appoints him Taoiseach and Minister for Energy. Maura Geoghegan Quinn becomes Minister for the Gaeltacht. She's the first woman to be elected to cabinet since Markievicz. So you can see her there, and she stands out surrounded by all the men. Unfortunately, the political picture isn't that much different right now. So the first area that Haughey is going to look at is the economy, and he makes a speech where he says we're all living beyond our means, and we're all going to have to tighten our belts. So he seemed to indicate that there was going to be spending cuts, there was going to be tax hikes, and there was borrowing on the way, but actually didn't materialize. And he presides over two generous budgets in 1980 and 1981. So the budget went in the opposite direction. Cuts tax for the wealthy, increases public sector spending. There's an increase in social welfare in 81 and public sector pay. So even though he's telling people that we're living beyond our means, we need to tighten our belts, we need to be more careful, he actually presides over two very generous budgets. So his rhetoric doesn't match his action. But there are significant effects to this. We're going to spiral towards recession that began under the Lynch government and Colley's disastrous budgets. Haughey now presides over two reckless budgets and reckless spending. So towards the mid-80s, we're going to hit a really high recessionary period.